This one coin in your pocket could be worth thousands. Discover the hidden fortune in rare American coins. Did you know that a single 1982 Washington quarter could hold a story worth thousands and reveal secrets of America's economy history and hidden minting mistakes that turned ordinary coins into extraordinary treasures? Today, we unlock the real history behind the 1982 quarters and why collectors will pay a fortune for them. If you think you know, quarters, think again. This story will change everything you believe about pocket change. In the year 1982, the United States was in the midst of economic turmoil. Inflation was high, unemployment was a threat, and the mint faced budget constraints that would change the way our quarters were made forever. The Washington quarter, which had been in production since 1932, became the center of one of the most fascinating chapters in modern American coinage. The 1982 Washington quarter carries more significance than what meets the eye. For starters, this was the first full year when the mint stopped producing proof sets for the public due to severe budget cuts. This means collectors had fewer pristine examples from this year, and the circulation strikes are all that remain to tell the tale. Imagine collectors decades later hunting through circulation just to find a decent quality piece. That alone would make these coins interesting. But the story gets deeper. The 1982 quarters were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia mint coins carried no mint mark, as was customary until 1980, which is a story itself. But the Denver coins bear the D mint mark, and both mints faced problems that year that created what would become some of the most sought-after mint errors and varieties of the modern era. Due to cost-cutting measures, the mint reduced the number of dies they produced. This meant dies were used well past their prime, leading to coins that showed severe die deterioration and doubling, which today fascinates collectors. The famous no-P error dime from 1982 is often talked about, but few know the same conditions led to interesting varieties on the quarters as well. These coins were also the first years the mint did not produce mint sets for collectors. Again, a decision driven by cost. This meant that millions of people missed out on pristine, uncirculated coins, and collectors now have to search circulation finds and dealer stockpiles for coins in decent grades. What does this mean for the modern collector? It means that a 1982 Washington quarter in gem uncirculated condition can fetch significant premiums far above face value. The scarcity of higher grades is compounded by the fact that these coins were spent circulated and worn down, without anyone saving rolls, because no sets were available for collectors to stash away. The composition of these quarters remained the standard copper nickel clad that had been introduced in 1965, but the quality control slipped during the production process, sometimes leading to off-center strikes, broad strikes, and double strikes, which today command a premium. The story of the 1982 quarter cannot be told without mentioning the broader economic context. The early 80s recession put the squeeze on many Americans, so saving quarters for speculative value was far from the minds of people struggling with mortgage rates and unemployment. But for the U.S. Mint, it was a time of modernization and austerity. Combined, the result was coins that had to be produced more cheaply, more quickly, and with less oversight. The collectors of today reap the results of these decisions when they discover unique examples hiding in rolls, pocket change, or old jars passed down through families. As we dive deeper into the minting process of the 1982 Washington quarter, we find that the dies used were often overused. Sometimes the design would become mushy, and the finer details like the hair above Washington's ear or the eagle feathers on the reverse would blend together. This made grading the coins more complicated, but also created opportunities for varieties to emerge. Repunched mint marks were not as common in this year due to newer techniques, but the die deterioration, doubling, and clash marks added an extra layer of intrigue. The story of the quarter would not be complete without addressing the collecting community. In the early 80s, coin collecting was going through a period of transition. The silver boom of the late 70s had ended, and the modern market had yet to fully embrace clad coins. But specialists began to see that coins like the 1982 quarter could be keys to understanding the mint's evolution. In a time of crisis, you will find stories of collectors hoarding rolls of 1982 D quarters, hoping for the elusive high MS grades or hidden errors. While the Philadelphia coins saw similar attention, the lack of a mint mark, which had been reinstated in 1980, still caused confusion among new collectors, leading to myths about missing mint marks, which more often than not turned out to be damage or wear. But the fact remains, any high-grade example from this year is a prize when it comes to pricing. The values for these coins can vary dramatically. While a common circulated piece might be worth its face value, an uncirculated example in MS-65 or higher can command $20, $50 or more, depending on the demand in the registry market. The real treasures lie in the discovery coins, the off-center strikes, the double dies, the broad strikes. Each of these mint errors is a snapshot of the mint's struggles that year. These coins tell a story of a workforce under pressure, equipment stretched beyond its limits, and an economy that left its mark on every quarter struck in 1982. To this day, new varieties continue to surface, with hobbyists scouring bags and rolls for anything unusual. The quest for the perfect 1982 quarter is part of a larger journey into the history of American coinage and its enduring legacy. You may ask yourself, why does this small piece of metal matter so much? Why does a Washington quarter from 1982 capture the imagination of collectors across the country? The answer lies in its symbolism. It represents an era of change, economic uncertainty, and the resilience of a mint that had to do more with less. Every scratch, every die crack, every doubled letter on a 1982 quarter is a testament to this pivotal moment when the mint balanced tradition with necessity. The story of the quarter also intersects with the broader numismatic world. As third-party grading services emerged, collectors began to see the value in submitting even common-clad coins for certification, a process that solidified the importance of quality, condition, and authenticity. The graded population reports for the 1982 quarters are a treasure trove of information for researchers and investors alike, showing how few high-grade examples truly exist. When you hold a 1982 Washington quarter, you hold a piece of that history. You hold a relic of a time when America faced tough economic challenges, and the mint rose to meet them. You hold a symbol of everyday commerce that became an extraordinary collectible in the hands of those who knew what to look for. In the next segment of our journey, we will explore the specific errors and varieties you should hunt for. We will examine the differences between Philadelphia and Denver coins, how to identify die deterioration, doubling how to spot off-center strikes that can increase value, and how to grade your coins effectively to maximize your investment. We will talk to veteran collectors who share their stories of the big finds and the ones that got away. We will visit coin shows, auction houses, and grading labs to see how a simple 1982 quarter can travel from your pocket to a collection worth thousands. We will uncover the secrets of storage, preservation, and the best practices to ensure your coins survive for future generations. And we will wrap up with a vision for what the future holds for these modern-clad treasures in the ever-evolving world of numismatics. So stay with us as we peel back every layer of the 1982 Washington quarter, its history, its value, its hidden gems, because in the world of coins, even the most ordinary can become truly extraordinary when you know where to look. Keep watching, keep hunting, and may your next pocket change reveal a piece of history that transforms your collection forever. This is not just an old penny. This is a window into American history. The 1953 wheat penny might look like just another coin in your drawer. But what if I told you that this tiny piece of copper could be worth thousands, and that it holds secrets about the post-war economy, minting technology, political transitions, and a nation's trust in its currency? Join us as we uncover the full story of the 1953 wheat penny, its hidden value, and the reason collectors are racing to get their hands on it. The year is 1953. America is in the early stages of the Cold War. Dwight D. Eisenhower has just become the 34th President of the United States, replacing Harry S. Truman. The nation is evolving, industries are booming, soldiers are returning home, the economy is stabilizing after the tremors of the Second World War. and the Korean conflict. The United States Mint continues its vital role in producing coinage to support a growing economy. And among the coins minted in this pivotal year stands a small copper coin that carries more history than its size suggests, the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny. This coin marks an era, a bridge between the pre-war and post-war generation, a symbol of everyday commerce and silent witness to the lives of millions. The design remains familiar to all Americans. Abraham Lincoln faces right, his profile etched in dignity and memory, while the reverse carries the classic wheat stalks, a motif used since 1909, symbolizing growth, prosperity, and the fruits of a strong working nation. The wheat penny by 1953 had already become a staple in American pockets. Introduced in 1909 on the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, breaking the long tradition of using allegorical female figures. This shift was significant, and by 1953, the design by Victor David Brenner remained a deeply respected national symbol. Now let us journey through the minting process and uncover the varieties of the 1953 penny. Across the three main mints of that time, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each mint played a unique role in coin production, and their output had subtle yet crucial differences. The Philadelphia Mint struck the most with no mint mark it issued, over 256 million wheat pennies. These coins are often considered the base standard of the year, but not all were created equal. Minor variations in die wear, striking pressure, planche quality, and storage conditions have resulted in many collectible variants. Then we come to the Denver Mint, known for its D mint mark. It produced over 700 million wheat pennies in 1953. This was the highest production among the three mints. And while many of these coins remain common in circulated condition, collectors seek out uncirculated Denver coins with sharp details and original red luster, which can command impressive prices at auctions. And finally, the San Francisco Mint, marked with an S, produced around 181 million wheat pennies. 1953 S coins are particularly noted for their strong strike quality and their attractive toning when well preserved. Some examples from San Francisco stand among the finest Lincoln cents from the early 50s. Yet, it is not just the mint marks that matter. Error coins and varieties play a massive role in determining rarity and value in the world of numismatics. The 1953 wheat penny has several known varieties that have captured collector interest over the years, including double die obverse repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and clipped planches. These errors are not just production mistakes, they are hidden treasures, tiny anomalies that transform a 1-cent coin into a rare artifact, worth hundreds or even thousands. The double die verse, for example, can create a dramatic doubling effect on the date or the word liberty. And these coins are often heavily sought after by specialists in Lincoln cent varieties. Repunched mint marks, or RPMs, are another favorite, especially from the Denver and San Francisco mints. These result from the mint mark being punched more than once, in slightly different positions. And under magnification, this creates a layered effect that is both distinct and beautiful. Off-center errors and clipped planches, while less common, can also significantly raise the value of a 1953 penny, especially if the error is dramatic and the coin remains in high grade. Speaking of condition, the importance of grading cannot be overstated in the realm of coin collecting. The value of a 1953 wheat penny hinges not just on its mint or variety, but on its state of preservation. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, with higher grades exponentially increasing in value. A 1953 penny in circulated condition might be worth a few cents to a couple of dollars, but an uncirculated example, especially one with a rich red color graded MS65 or higher by PCGS or NGC, can sell for hundreds, and in rare instances even more. One particularly high-grade 1953 D penny sold for over $4,000 due to its flawless surface sharp strike and fiery red luster. Beyond grading and errors, the historical context adds tremendous depth to the story of this coin. 1953 was a transitional year for America. The war in Korea ended in July. The Cold War intensified. The civil rights movement was beginning to gain national traction, and in the background, the mint continued churning out coins to fuel the American economy every 1953. Wheat penny carries the essence of that moment in time. The coin passed through the hands of storekeepers, teachers, children, soldiers, immigrants, and politicians. A tiny vessel of value and trust now. Decades later, collectors seek to reclaim that history. Holding a 1953 wheat penny is like touching a small piece of the past preserved in copper. Did you know that a simple 1983 Jefferson nickel could hide a value story that links American history? Minting errors, collector secrets, and hidden fortunes. So get ready, because in this video, we dig deeper than any coin book ever will and reveal why this little nickel from 1983 can open the vault to a forgotten chapter of U.S. coinage and possibly your wallet. In the vast timeline of American coinage history, the year 1983 stands out, not because of grand events, but because of the hidden tales etched into the humble Jefferson nickel. When we trace the roots, we must start with the man himself, Thomas Jefferson, whose vision of a strong, independent republic still echoes through the marble halls of Washington, D.C. His face chosen to represent the 5-cent piece since 1938 stands as a testament to his legacy and the promise of American resilience in 1983. The United States Mint was in a unique place. The economic shifts of the early 80s inflation, the lingering effects of the energy crisis, and the changing priorities of the Federal Reserve all played a role in how coins were minted and circulated. The Jefferson nickel had already seen decades of evolution. The wartime nickels of 1942 through 1945 had altered its composition to save nickel for the war effort. The return to the copper-nickel alloy after the war signaled stability. Yet by the early 80s, subtle changes were brewing. Collectors began to notice inconsistencies in strikes and planche quality. The Denver and Philadelphia mints were pushing out millions of coins daily, yet the quality control sometimes struggled to keep up with the sheer demand in the case of the 1983 Jefferson nickel. This meant that some coins escaped the mint with significant die errors, off-center strikes, double strikes, and weak strikes. These anomalies today drive collectors into bidding wars at auctions, while the average circulated 1983 nickel may only fetch face value. Certain mint state examples, especially those with full steps designation, are prized beyond belief. The full steps term refers to the clarity of the steps on Monticello Jefferson's iconic home depicted on the E. Reverse. For decades, numismatists have used the full steps detail as a benchmark for strike quality, because getting a coin with fully struck steps means the dies were perfectly aligned. The planche was pristine, and the pressure was ideal in 1983. Full steps nickels are challenging to find because the minting technology and worn dies often left steps partially struck. The hunt for these coins is an adventure that draws coin hunters to rolls bags and estate sales across the nation. But the story does not stop there. We must consider the economic backdrop. President Reagan was deep into his economic reform plans, cutting taxes, ramping up military spending, and negotiating international deals. These factors indirectly impacted the mint by adjusting how budgets were allocated, what metals were sourced, and how the mints were modernized. The Philadelphia Mint, marked by a P mint mark, had fully transitioned to using the P since 1980, and in 1983, its production of nickels was massive, yet the scrutiny on quality was not as tight as collectors today would wish it to be. The Denver Mint, known for the D mint mark, produced its own batch with similar quirks. The San Francisco Mint, however, focused on proof sets. These coins, mirror-like and struck multiple times, were intended for collectors, and they too carry the legacy of the 1983 nickel, but with a shine that adds layers to the story. The market for these coins fluctuates as new discoveries surface. Imagine an original bank-wrapped roll from 1983, surfacing in some forgotten safety deposit box. The thrill that collectors feel when tearing through that paper, searching for the elusive gem mint state with full steps, or a spectacular double die error, is what keeps the passion alive across forums, coin shows, and online marketplaces. The tales of 1983 Jefferson nickels weave into the greater narrative of American coin collecting. The metal composition remains 75% copper and 25% nickel. But the real value lies not in the metal content, but in the story. The rarity, the condition, and the demand. The nickel may not hold the silver value of older coins, but its historical weight is undeniable. Numismatics teaches us that even the most common coin can carry an uncommon story. We look at auction records and find that a pristine MS-66 full steps can command hundreds of dollars, while an average circulated nickel may never see the light of a coin slab. But do not dismiss the lower grades, because even worn examples can hide errors like broad strikes, clips, and cud breaks that increase desirability to specialists in error collecting communities. So when you hold a 1983 Jefferson nickel between your fingers, you hold decades of minting tradition and the promise of discovery. Now let us travel deeper into the production process. The mint used high-speed presses and plancher feeding systems that in the 80s were advancing, yet far from the laser-guided precision of today. Dies would wear down, and maintenance schedules varied. The result was coins struck with weak devices, blurred details, and the occasional misaligned die clash. Each flaw became a gem for collectors, who chased the unusual over the mundane during this period. The coin collecting community was also shifting with the rise of coin shows, local clubs, and the expansion of the American Numismatic Association. Resources were more accessible. But so were counterfeits, which made authentication and grading ever more critical. The grading companies like PCGS and NGC rose in prominence, giving buyers and sellers confidence in their transactions. For the 1983 Jefferson nickel, these companies became gatekeepers of value as they assigned grades and full steps designations that could multiply a coin's worth overnight. There is also the cultural context to consider. The early 80s were an era of pop culture, explosions, economic uncertainty, and technological shifts. The American pocket change jingled alongside Atari cartridges and cassette tapes. Yet only a few people at that time thought much about keeping nickels for future value. They were spent at diners, arcades, and gas stations, never realizing that someday collectors would be willing to pay a premium for an uncirculated piece. While we sit here today discussing the details, thousands of these coins rest forgotten in drawers, jars, and Coinstar reject bins waiting to be rediscovered. This is why roll hunting remains a beloved hobby for many. The thrill of opening a fresh bankroll hoping to find that needle in a haystack is unmatched. Now we look at notable auction stories. Take the tale of a collector who found an uncirculated 1983 D nickel with perfect full steps that coin-graded MS-66 full steps fetched a surprising sum, far exceeding its face value, because supply and demand in numismatics are not just about mintage numbers. They are about survival rates, condition, rarity, and market interest. The story of the 1983 Jefferson nickel reminds us that patience, research, and an eye for detail can turn everyday change into a historical artifact. As our journey continues, we must also honor the engravers. Felix Schlag, the original designer, created a timeless portrait that still graces the obverse decades later. His design stood the test of time with only slight modifications. This consistency allows collectors to focus on subtleties, the way the strike quality reveals itself. The steps of Monticello, the presence of die Polish lines or clash marks. Every mark tells a story, and every scratch is a window into the minting process. We must not overlook the role of coin dealers who act as historians, educators, and treasure hunters. They spread the word about key dates, varieties, and pricing trends. Their coin shops and bourse tables are filled with tales of great finds, like the elusive 1983 full steps nickel that sat unnoticed in a junk bin only to be discovered by a sharp-eyed collector who turned a 5-cent piece into a prize worth hundreds. These stories feed the legend and keep the hobby alive through generations. As we draw this narrative to the present day, the world of online collecting adds another layer. With online marketplaces and forums, collectors from all corners of the world can share discoveries, images, and price data, pushing the value of these coins higher. When a new die variety is verified, the news spreads like wildfire, sometimes overnight changing what was once considered common into a key date for specialists. This dynamic, community-driven valuation is what makes numismatics more than just a hobby. It is a living, breathing archive of our nation's history. The 1983 Jefferson nickel is a reminder that history is not always found in museums. Sometimes it sits in your pocket change, waiting for you to look closer. So next time you come across a nickel from 1983, flip it over. Study the steps. Run your fingers along the rim. Check for doubling weak strikes or off-center designs. You might just find that your ordinary coin is a portal to a hidden world of stories, auctions, and legacy. This is the magic that keeps collectors searching. The thrill that turns a handful of coins into a lifetime passion. The Jefferson nickel from 1983 is not just a piece of metal. It is a time capsule, and its story is still being written every time someone finds one in an old roll, every time an auction hammer drops on a record-breaking sale, and every time a new collector discovers the joy of the hunt. This is why we tell these stories, and why this humble nickel deserves a place in your collection and your memory. This 1976 half-dollar looks ordinary, but it could make you rich. Here's the untold story, hidden value and shocking truth behind this American coin that millions overlook every day. Read carefully as we begin this journey into the world of the 1976 half-dollar coin, a piece of American history that holds not just monetary value, but a deeper story that many coin collectors and history lovers crave to uncover. The bicentennial half-dollar minted in 1975 and 1976 stands out from all other issues, not just because of its unique reverse design, but because it commemorates 200 years of American independence, a historic moment captured in the form of a coin. And this coin is more than just metal. It is a symbol of national pride, tradition, and numismatic artistry. Now let us look at the roots of the coin. The half-dollar denomination was first introduced in 1794, but the 1976 version belongs to the Kennedy half-dollar series introduced after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963. The bicentennial issue, however, replaced the usual reverse design with a new one, showing the Independence Hall in Philadelphia, a building soaked in the essence of American liberty designed by Seth Huntington. The image reflects the spirit of 1776, but the changes do not stop at the reverse. The date on the obverse is also unique. Instead of a single year, it reads 1776 to 1976, making it instantly recognizable to collectors and historians alike. Now dive into the mintage and materials. Millions of these coins were struck by the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and came in three main types. The copper nickel-clad business strikes made for general circulation, the copper nickel proof strikes mostly from San Francisco, and the silver-clad versions which contain 40% silver and were primarily intended for collectors. The silver versions are of particular interest because of their intrinsic metal value, especially when silver prices rise. Now let us analyze how to identify these varieties. Look at the edge and weight. Copper nickel-clad coins usually weigh around 11.34 grams, while the 40% silver coins are slightly heavier, and their edges may show less copper color. Spotting a silver-clad coin can often mean you are holding a higher value item in your hands. Many people ignore the coin thinking it is ordinary pocket change, but the silver-clad version and some rare errors are worth significantly more than face value. Speaking of errors, the 1976 half-dollar has had its share of minting mistakes, including double dies, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, and planche errors. Some of these rare errors have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction and continue to be highly sought after by collectors. The value of the 1976 half-dollar depends heavily on its type, condition, mint mark, and whether it has any rare errors circulated. Copper nickel versions are generally worth face value, but high-grade examples can fetch anywhere between $5 to $20, and silver-clad coins, especially those graded MS67 or higher, can range from $25 to several $100s in pristine proof. Deep cameo condition. Some rare varieties like the 1976's no mint mark silver proof or deep cameo designated coins can reach four-figure values. The real question is how to identify and store such coins properly if you are a beginner in coin collecting. Always start with a magnifying glass. A digital scale and a coin reference guide or grading book. Coins should be stored in acid-free holders and handled with gloves to preserve their condition. Environmental exposure. Even slight touching can lead to tone changes, scratches, and loss of value over time. Let us also look at how the public received the 1976 half-dollar during its release. Americans were deeply involved in the spirit of the bicentennial with celebrations, parades, and renewed patriotic pride. The mint decided to produce special bicentennial designs, not just for the half-dollar but also for the quarter and the dollar. The unique trio of coins with special designs created an excitement among the public, and many hoarded these coins as souvenirs. Some were placed in government-issued mint sets or proof sets, while others were circulated across the country. What makes the 1976 half-dollar coin truly interesting is its cultural significance. Unlike modern issues that come and go, the bicentennial half-dollar is a time capsule. It reminds us of the historical unity and pride that the United States felt during the celebration of its 200th birthday. Now explore some auction records and surprising facts. A 1976 silver proof, graded by PCGs as PR's 70D cam, once sold for over $2,000 because of its flawless mirror-like surface and perfect strike. Similarly, some off-center or misprinted versions of the coin fetched high bids from collectors. Worldwide auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have seen growing demand for premium examples of the coin, reflecting the continued interest in bicentennial issues. What most people do not realize is that coins like the 1976 half-dollar are not just numismatic treasures. They are economic and emotional connections to the past. Holding a coin minted during a major milestone in American history allows people to connect physically to the events that shaped their nation. The coin becomes a storytelling device, an educational tool, and a collector item all at once. As a collector or enthusiast, you should always check your change regularly, because you never know if a 40% silver coin or a rare error is sitting unnoticed in your collection or pocket. The coins can come from inherited jars, flea markets, estate sales, or simply old rolls from the bank. The thrill of the hunt drives many collectors to keep searching, to keep learning, and to keep preserving history. Through coins looking deeper at the production. The Philadelphia Mint did not put mint marks on its coins at that time, so a coin without a mint mark is from Philly. The Denver Mint coins carry the D mark, while San Francisco Mint coins, especially proofs, carry the S mark. Each of these has its own rarity scale depending on the coin type and condition, and knowing the differences between these marks helps in identifying value. And type some coin rolls sold directly by the U.S. Mint during 1975 and 1976 included special bicentennial coins that were never intended for general circulation. These uncirculated and proof rolls remain highly collectible today, especially when still in their original government packaging. Now talk about grading. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. Grades like MS60 to MS70 are assigned based on surface condition, luster strike, and overall eye appeal. Coins that are uncirculated and still show their original shine can command high prices, especially when slabbed and certified by professional grading services such as PCGs or NGC. Coin collectors often chase coins in high mint state grades or deep cameo proof grades, because these are the examples that represent the best of the minting process and are the most prized in serious collections. You can still find raw examples in old coin collections, so it pays to know what to look for when identifying a valuable 1976 half-dollar. Do not overlook the edge pattern, the weight, the feel of the coin, or small irregularities, as these clues could lead you to discover an error or variety worth a small fortune. Collecting coins is not just about investment. It is about passion, heritage, and preserving history with every coin. Are you holding a simple old quarter or a 1979 $1 coin in your pocket right now? What if I told you that tiny piece of metal could be a hidden treasure worth thousands in the collector's world? Join me on this incredible journey as we uncover the untold history, the rare varieties, and the secrets that make these coins a collector's dream. Don't miss a second, because by the end, you might discover that you are richer than you think. Let us begin this fascinating journey into the world of old quarters and the 1979 $1 coin, a journey that stretches back through decades of American history, where metal and minting collide to create tiny time capsules that survive wars, economic crashes, and the ever-shifting tides of culture. The story of the American quarter begins in 1796, when the first draped bust quarter was minted, designed by the artist Gilbert Stuart and engraved by Robert Scott. This early quarter showed liberty draped in flowing robes with an eagle on the reverse. These early quarters were made of silver, a tradition that continued through most of the 19th century. As the years passed, the designs evolved. The capped bust quarters arrived in 1815, showing a more refined liberty. Then came the seated liberty quarters in 1838, a design that remained in circulation until 1891. These quarters told the story of a young growing nation expanding westward, facing civil war and embracing industrialization. Each design change reflected the mood and values of its era. The Barber quarter, named after its designer Charles E. Barber, debuted in 1892. It had a simple yet elegant design: Liberty wearing a cap with a laurel wreath, and the reverse featuring a heraldic eagle. It was practical, durable, and served the nation through the turn of the century into World War I. Then came one of the most iconic designs, the Standing Liberty quarter, minted from 1916 to 1930, with Liberty standing tall, a shield in one hand and an olive branch in the other, symbolizing America's readiness for war but desire for peace. The Great Depression brought the end of Standing Liberty, and in 1932 the Washington quarter was born, originally meant to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design by John Flanagan became so popular it stuck around permanently, featuring the bust of Washington and an eagle on the reverse from 1932 onward. The Washington quarter became a staple of American pockets, purses, and piggy banks. Its silver content remained until 1964, when rising silver prices forced the mint to switch to a copper nickel-clad composition. This change marked a turning point for collectors, as pre-1965 quarters containing 90% silver became more valuable over time. Now, many people overlook the fact that quarters can hold hidden value. Even modern-looking ones can fetch hundreds or thousands depending on mint errors, rare varieties, and historical significance. Take the famous 1932D and 1932S Washington quarters, the first year of issue and the lowest mintages. They are highly prized by collectors. A well-preserved 1932D can easily reach $500 to a few $1,000s, depending on condition moving forward. The State Quarters program, launched in 1899, reignited America's passion for coin collecting with 50 different designs, honoring each state. These quarters brought millions of new collectors into the hobby and created a modern legacy. Now let us turn our gaze to the $1 coin of 1979. The Susan B. Anthony dollar, a coin that holds a unique place in American numismatic history. The late 1970s saw the United States searching for a new dollar coin. The Eisenhower dollar was simply too large and heavy for everyday use, so Congress authorized a smaller dollar, featuring the portrait of Susan B. Anthony, a prominent suffragette and women's rights activist. The new coin, minted in 1979, was the first U.S. coin to feature an actual historical woman, rather than an allegorical figure like Liberty. Its design, by Frank Gasparo, shows Susan B. Anthony in a sharp portrait, facing right with an 11-sided border, giving the coin a unique look and feel. The reverse features the Apollo 11 mission insignia, an eagle landing on the moon, with an olive branch echoing the design of the Eisenhower dollar. The 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar was met with mixed reactions. Many people confused it with the quarter because of its size and color. Despite its practicality, it failed to catch on in circulation, and millions sat in vaults for years. Today, the 1979 dollar holds special interest for collectors because of its varieties and minting quirks. There are clear, wide rim, and narrow rim varieties for the 1979 P issue. The wide rim or near-date variety is more valuable because of its lower mintage. Then there are proof issues struck at the San Francisco Mint, The 1979 S proof coins can be found in both Type 1 and Type 2 varieties. The Type 2 has a clear S mint mark, which is highly sought after by collectors. A perfect graded specimen can bring in significant premiums over face value. This brings us to the bigger picture. What makes these coins valuable is not just age, but condition, rarity, demand, and historical significance. A common worn 1979 Susan B. Anthony might be worth only face value, but a pristine proof or an error coin could be worth hundreds. The same goes for quarters. A circulated Washington quarter from the 1970s may not be worth much, but a silver Washington quarter from 1932 to 1964 carries intrinsic silver value and rare dates or mint errors. Multiply the value dramatically. Let us dive deeper into the fascinating world of mint errors. A simple misstrike, a double die, or a plancher error can transform an ordinary coin into a numismatic treasure. In 1979, the Susan B. Anthony dollar saw some notable double strikes and off-center strikes. These rare mistakes attract collectors willing to pay top dollar for unique pieces. The passion for coins is more than monetary. It is about preserving history, holding in your hand a small piece of metal that was once exchanged by people decades ago, maybe at a corner store, during the gas crisis of the 70s, or tucked away in a dresser for generations. These coins witness the passage of time. They survive recessions, wars, cultural revolutions, and technological leaps. Yet they remain constant, a tangible reminder of who we were and who we have become. Coin collectors know that value is not just in the metal, but in the story. Each coin tells. It is the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovering a rare mint mark, the satisfaction of researching varieties and errors that drives the numismatic community. Even today, coin shows, conventions, online auctions, and grading services like PCGS and NGC keep this passion alive. Thousands of collectors, young and old, gather to trade, learn, and preserve the legacy of American coinage. So what can you do if you have a handful of old quarters or a 1979 dollar coin? Start by examining each piece closely. Look for mint marks. Study the date, check for varieties and errors. Use a magnifying glass and good lighting. Compare your coin to trusted guides or online databases. If you find something unusual, seek a professional appraisal from a reputable coin dealer or grading service. You might be holding a rare gem without even knowing it. And remember, the condition matters. Keep coins in protective holders, avoid cleaning them, as this can reduce their value significantly. Store them in a cool, dry place and always handle them by the edges to prevent damage. As we come full circle, remember that the story of old quarters and the 1979 $1 coin is the story of America itself. A story of change, resilience, and the enduring power of small things to carry big meanings. Whether you are a seasoned collector or just starting out, keep looking. Keep learning. And who knows, maybe that quarter in your pocket is not just 25 cents, but a piece of history waiting to be discovered and cherished forever. So join me as we continue to explore these hidden treasures and unlock the secrets of America's coins together. You never know where the next discovery will lead you, and your journey is only just beginning.